Your Majesty, let me end him, Qi Shintian said coldly. He did not like to kill the weak because he preferred to challenge the strong. However, the person in front of him was an exception. Don't kill me. I know where those humans are imprisoned, Zhang Chu said in fear. Oh? Where are they? Zhou Zhou looked at him calmly. Promise me first that you'll spare my life and I'll tell you this secret. Otherwise, if we're too late, those humans will be transferred away by the Ice Demon Kingdom. Zhang Chu's eyes flickered. Zhou Zhou said nothing. He casually took out the lowest-grade black iron-tier elementary grade sword from his spatial ring and placed it on Zhang Chu's neck. Under Zhang Chu's disbelieving gaze, he sliced off his opponent's head. Then, he casually used his chaotic origin energy to destroy the corpse, not even leaving a soul behind. Come on, Zhou Zhou said calmly as he casually threw the sword away. Qi Shintian and the others nodded and left. Ice Demon Kingdom, Bloody Lake Harbor. Zhou Zhou and the other three floated in the air and looked down at the Ice Demon Kingdom's port. A blood-red lake lay quietly on the ground. The strong smell of blood soared into the sky, causing the eyes of Zhou Zhou and the others to turn even colder. At least 1 million life forms have died in this bloody lake harbor, Suin said. Cut open this lake. Tens of millions of human refugees are under this lake. But be careful. There's an epic tier guardian in the bloody lake. Don't screw up, Zhou Zhou said. He had high-level telepathy and could easily sense the inner thoughts of living beings weaker than him. Therefore, when Zhang Chu begged him for mercy, he had already given Zhou Zhou the answer he wanted in his heart. That was why he had killed the other party without hesitation. I'll do it, Suin said. He took a step forward. Then he disappeared into the air. The next second, accompanied by a sharp whistle, a 700 to 800 meter long headless blood-red worm flew out of the bloody lake and fell on the land beside the blood lake port, twisting its body crazily. A large amount of dark purple blood spewed out of its neck. Originally, there were groups of Ice Demon clansmen transporting goods near the land of Bloody Lake Harbor. In the end, the blood-colored worm's struggle before it died crushed hundreds of Ice Demon clan members to death. The dark purple blood that sprayed out melted nearly 1,000 Ice Demon clan members. The blood god is dead? Enemy attack! Enemy attack! Get the Ghost King core immediately! All the Ice Demon clan members were either crying out in alarm, fear, or anger, making the scene a little noisy. At the same time, above the bloody lake, in a motionless black ship, ripples appeared in the air, and then Suin walked out. Your Majesty, we've found the entrance. Tens of millions of human refugees are inside. But many refugees are injured, and a small number of refugees have already died. Suin transmitted his voice. Then, he looked around and saw more than 10 Ice Demon clan experts staring at him with their mouths agape. The weakest among them was an epic tier expert. There were even 3 legendary tier Ice Demon race experts. One of them was the Ice Demon General, Asa. Suin's eyes were cold, and he did not look afraid at all. The blood shadow sword in his right hand also let out sword cries. Kill him! You have a death wish. How dare you barge into our territory? Catch him alive. Be careful. Don't let him destroy the Sky Spirit ship. Ice Demon General, Asa and a dozen other Ice Demon race experts finally snapped out of their daze and charged toward Suin with furious expressions. Thick spatial power erupted, forming a spatial passageway with endless suction behind it, directly sucking it into the spatial rift. Suin calmly entered stealth mode and began to kill indiscriminately. Screams sounded. Suin walked out of the Sky Spirit ship with a calm expression. Even his clothes were not stained with any blood. Only the blood shadow sword in his hand was red and shiny. 100,000 Ice Demon soldiers appeared. This was the Ghost King army that the Ice Demon Kingdom had specially stationed here. It was in charge of protecting Bloody Lake Harbor, the official slave trading venue. So many Ice Demon clan members. Just as well. Coincidentally, my blood shadow sword isn't full yet, Suin said softly. His body began to grow rapidly. In just a few seconds, It grew to 15,000 meters tall before stopping. Then, a 1,000-meter-long ferocious red horn grew out of his head. Su-en's fair face also turned as red as magma. Then, he grew 2 more faces and 2 pairs of arms. Moreover, on the other arms that were not armed, another 5 blood shadow swords more than 7,000 meters long were formed and held by these 5 hands. Hero skill, Night Rakshasa true body. Witness death. Su-en roared at the sky, his voice shaking the heavens and earth. Then he quickly waved the 6 blood shadow swords. Every swing could take away hundreds of Ghost King army soldiers. The strongest person in the Ghost King army was only a legendary tier elementary grade Ice Demon King. Even though it was stronger than Su-en, its combat strength was still far inferior to Su-en without the enhancement of the hero slot. Therefore, he could only watch as Su-en killed his legionaries on the battlefield. But there was nothing he could do. He could not save his own life. After a long time, the battlefield became deathly silent. Su-en, who was in his Night Rakshasa sword god state, looked at the battlefield in front of him with his 6 blood-red Rakshasa blood eyes. After confirming that there were no survivors, the ruthlessness in his eyes gradually faded, and his body returned to normal. He lifted the Sky Spirit ship with one hand and flew in front of Zhou. "I have not let His Majesty down. Well done." Zhou nodded. Then, he took the Sky Spirit ship and entered it with his consciousness. He looked at the scene inside the Sky Spirit ship. Inside the Sky Spirit ship, there was a continent of more than 1,000,000 square kilometers. On this main road, more than 10 million human refugees were gathered here. None of them were in a good state. Some of them were injured, some had fainted due to excessive blood loss, some had a fever due to infest, and some were incomplete, but they were still alive. Some of them had already become lifeless corpses. Zhou took a deep breath and looked in the direction of the Ice Demon King's capital. An extremely intense killing intent flashed across his eyes. However, he did not rush over immediately. The most important thing now was to save her. With a thought, he directly returned to the royal capital of the Blazing Sun City through Return to the City. Then, as he carefully released the tens of millions of humans in the empty spirit ship, he immediately gathered all the doctors in the territory to treat these humans. As for the dead refugees, they could no longer be revived with the small resurrection spell. This was because they had been dead for more than an hour. Under such circumstances, resurrection could only be achieved through the Great Resurrection spell. However, how could Zhou have so many Holy Spirit tier faith divine crystals? "I can't resurrect you. Then I'll collect some interest for you first," Zhou muttered. With a thought, he contacted the Blood Bat avatar beside Baiyun. In front of an extraordinary tier advanced grade spatial teleportation array. The soldiers of the Blazing Sun Kingdom were currently cleaning up the battlefield. At the place where the Star Alliance Masters gathered, a group of people surrounded a female lord and asked her all sorts of questions. The female lord was also quite excited. "This is unbelievable. You guys saw it too, right? That's a total of 200,000 fog monsters. In the end, with just one insight defection, 40,000 fog monsters actually submitted to me. I only have 43,000 men. Today's insight defection directly doubled my military strength," the female lord said excitedly. The other Star Alliance Masters were also envious. They had all shared the Diamond Tier insight defection. That 20% insight defection made everyone more eager to try. However, they had just come to complete the faction quests and had not encountered many fog monsters. Therefore, only one lord was lucky enough to use the Diamond Tier insight defection. It had to be said, what he thought was different from what he saw with his own eyes. The lords were clearly looking forward to the effect of their insight defection even more than when they first learned about the Diamond Tier insight defection. At this moment, Legion Commander Bai, "Come here. Did something happen? Are we setting off again? It's so fast today." "That's good. I've long wanted to use insight defection." When everyone saw Baiyun walking towards them, they discussed excitedly. "Greetings, Legion Commander Bai." Everyone waited until Baiyun was in front of them and said politely. Baiyun nodded. "Everyone. His Majesty just sent an urgent order saying that we should immediately return to the royal capital of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. A new war is waiting for us. She then told everyone about the tens of millions of humans being captured and then rescued by Zhou. When everyone heard this, they were instantly furious. There was no need for Baiyun to boost their morale at all. Everyone was filled with killing intent, expressing that they wanted to immediately rush back to the Blazing Sun Kingdom and take revenge for the millions of humans. Nong Chunglin, who was one of the lords, nodded in his heart. Back then, His Majesty wanted me to screen these people. Only qualified lords could join the Lord Alliance. Now, it seemed that there was a reason. A moment later in the Blazing Sun Kingdom, when Zhou saw that Baiyun and the others had returned, he did not waste any time and directly brought them to the Ice Demon Kingdom. At the border of the Ice Demon Kingdom, Yellow Gold Tier Regional Territory, Black Valley City, in a starry night that was hidden in the interlayer of space. Zhou and the others were watching the situation outside through a virtual screen floating in front of them. Your Majesty, when are we going to attack this Ice Demon Kingdom? The Green Phoenix Lord could not help but ask. She could not wait to start a war and avenge the tens of millions of human refugees. Zhou said nothing. He was thinking about something. He thought for a moment and asked everyone to wait for him in the spaceship. Then, he flew out of the Starry Night and looked at the 50 Starry Night spaceships in front of him. Among the 50 Starry Night spaceships, other than him and the Star Alliance's nearly 30 million troops, the rest were carrying professionals in other aspects, as well as some rations and other war supplies. Zhou's gaze swept around and finally landed on one of the Starry Night spaceships carrying food. A black ship appeared beside him out of thin air. It was the Sky Spirit ship that Suin had just obtained from the Ice Demon Kingdom's Bloody Lake Harbor. This Sky Spirit ship had already been strictly inspected by the professionals in his territory. After eliminating some special devices, it could now be used safely and normally. Thereafter, he controlled the Sky Spirit ship and placed the Starry Night into the space inside the Sky Spirit ship. Then, he placed the other spaceships, including the spaceships carrying the soldiers, into the Sky Spirit ship. Then can I bring the Sky Spirit ship and directly launch a pounce at the capital of their Ice Demon Kingdom? When the time comes, release the entire army in an instant. The capital of the Ice Demon Kingdom could have fallen into my hands in an instant. Zhou thought expectantly. Then he prepared to give it a try. He directly activated the law skill, Shadow Massacre, and hid himself. Then, he activated the mid-tier deity-level advanced grade divine artifact, Shadow Cloak, to enhance his invisibility ability. In this state, even if a mid-tier or a high-tier deity came, there was a high chance that they would not be able to see through his invisibility. However, Zhou frowned slightly. This was because he realized that activating law skills and using the mid-tier deity-level Shadow Cloak at the same time consumed too much chaotic energy in his body. At this rate, he reckoned that before he even reached the capital of the Ice Demon King, the chaotic energy in his body would be almost exhausted. I can compress chaotic origin energy to the same quality as mid-tier deity-level divine power. But in terms of size, it's still much inferior to a mid-tier deity level. Zhou thought. Then, he turned off Shadow Massacre's nomological skill and purely used the mid-tier deity-level divine artifact, Shadow Cloak. As expected, Zhou immediately felt that he had depleted a lot of energy. In this state, he could last for about half an hour. So much time was enough for him to do many things. Without any hesitation, he rushed into the sky above Black Valley City and flew towards the Ice Demon King. He didn't choose to enter the interlayer of space through the space meld ability of Starry Night and head to the capital of the Ice Demon King. This was because any kingdom with a little strength would take precautions in this aspect. If he did that, it would be very easy for him to expose the location of the Starry Night and thus his own location. This way, he might as well use the mid-tier deity-level divine artifact, Shadow Cloak, to become invisible and minimize the possibility of being exposed. A moment later, he had already flown past the sky above the 16 regional territories of the Ice Demon Kingdom and was constantly advancing towards the Ice Demon King's capital. But at this moment, he suddenly sensed an extremely powerful aura in the distance and was rushing towards him. After a while, he saw an ice demon general in ice blue armor appear not far from Jojo. It looked coldly in Jojo's direction and flipped its right hand. A gray compass appeared in its palm. The needle on the black compass slowly spun and pointed straight at Jojo. The ice demon general looked over. When he realized that there was nothing, his expression changed slightly. Then he sneered. This concealment technique is not bad. However, if you want to rely on this method to launch a sneak attack on our ice demon kingdom, you're looking down on the foundation that our ice demon kingdom has accumulated over the past 4,000 years. It suddenly opened its mouth, and terrifying ice element energy condensed in its mouth, quickly forming an energy ball that emitted a terrifying energy aura. Then it suddenly spat out the energy ball in Jojo's direction. Jojo, who was invisible, frowned slightly. His gaze fell on the compass in the other party's hand thoughtfully. Seeing that the energy ball was flying towards him, Jojo revealed himself and casually stretched out his hand, actually wanting to block the energy ball with one hand. The ice demon general sneered seeing this. It was a legendary tier elementary grade hero with an epic tier hero fate level slot. This young-looking human actually wanted to take its full strength attack. He really did not know the immensity of heaven and earth. However, in the next second, his eyes immediately widened. This was because the young man had actually caught its energy ball with just one hand, and it seemed to be effortless. The next second, it saw the young man play with the energy ball in his hand for a while before throwing it over. It traveled fast as though it was a shooting star even though this young man threw it lightly, scaring it so much that its hair stood on end. It turned around and wanted to escape. However, the energy ball collided with its body before it could fly far. Rumble. An intense ice blue explosion erupted in the sky. After the light dissipated, the ice demon general was already severely injured. His body trembled as it looked up at Jojo. Seeing his calm expression, it could not help but laugh bitterly. It didn't escape. It just floated in the air like a condemned prisoner waiting for the final judgment. Let me ask you, how did you find me? Jojo's voice sounded. The ice demon general remained silent. Jojo raised his eyebrows. Then, he condensed a chaos spear and shot it between its eyebrows. If you don't tell me, you'll die here today. If you say it, not only will I spare your life and make you my subject, but I will also give you unimaginable benefits. He said straightforwardly. Become your subject? Heh? Who do you think you are? The king of the blazing sun. The ice demon general said. I am the lord of the blazing sun. Jojo raised his eyebrows. The ice demon general was stunned. Its eyes flickered for a while before it exhaled and said, Does everything you say count? I'm the king of a country, so I'll naturally keep my word. Jojo said calmly. Even though his words were from his hometown, the other party understood under the translation of the higher continent's common language. After a moment of silence, it said, The Ice Demon Kingdom is covered in a layer of Grand Luo Cave Observation Array. This Zenith Heaven Cave Observation Array can observe the fate of all sentient creatures in a way that ordinary life forms can't detect. At this point, he took out the compass and injected energy into it. Then, he saw dense red lines appear above the compass. This is the Zenith Heaven Cave Observation Array's Zenith Heaven Compass. And these red lines are the aura of fate you carry. You should have at least 10 million soldiers with you, right? Even though your methods of obscurity are not bad. But it can't hide the aura of fate. There's no way to hide the aura of destiny on the tens of millions of soldiers on you. That's why I found out about you, the Ice Demon General said. Jojo was speechless. No wonder even a mid-tier deity-level divine artifact like his shadow cloak was discovered. It turned out that the other party had directly observed him through the mysterious level of fate. That's not right. He had the void mask on so that no one could observe his fate through any means. However, the nearly 30 million soldiers he brought did not have the void mask, so he was naturally exposed. Jojo shook his head. He did not expect the Ice Demon Kingdom to have such observation methods. Suddenly, he thought of something and waved his right hand, opening a world fissure. Then, he placed the Sky Spirit ship into the small world in the world fissure. Even though the small world in his heart had just been established, it could already accommodate a large number of life forms and substances. It might only be temporary, but he could do a lot of things. After putting the sky spirit ship into his small world, Zhou looked at the Zenith Heaven compass in the Ice Demon General's hand. In the end, he discovered that the compass was still densely packed with red threads that represented the aura of fate. Zhou frowned. Even the method of putting it into his small world could not hide the aura of fate. It seemed that he could not directly destroy the Ice Demon Kingdom by parachuting in the capital. Then his brows relaxed. If he didn't parachute in, he wouldn't parachute in. With his current military strength, it was not difficult to kill the Ice Demon Kingdom head-on. At this moment, Zhou seemed to have sensed something and looked up. In his powerful sixth senses, he could sense a large number of soldiers flying in his direction. The Ice Demon King has already discovered you. It's not too late to run. No hurry, no hurry. Zhou smiled. What's your name? My name is Elliot. Ice Demon General. Elliot frowned and said, Ice and fire dual blades. Elliot. Let me ask you, are you willing to join the Blazing Sun Kingdom? You want to take me with you? Elliot was stunned. He thought that Zhou was going to take him with him. He was a little grateful. Then he said seriously, Of course I'm willing, Your Majesty. Zhou nodded. He directly agreed to his application. After joining the Blazing Sun Kingdom, Elliot could be truly trusted under the influence of the peace and prosperity. Your Majesty, let's go. Elliot suggested sincerely for Zhou. Go? What do you mean? I'm here today to eliminate the future trouble of the Ice Demon Kingdom for my future subjects. Otherwise, I'm afraid my future subjects won't be able to come to our Blazing Sun Kingdom smoothly, Zhou said calmly. Then, he took out the Sky Spirit ship from the small world and released the nearly 30 million soldiers inside. The sky was instantly covered by the dense figures of the soldiers. When the Ice and Fire dual blades saw this scene, Elliot was instantly stunned. Especially when he discovered that there were two gods emitting a terrifying aura inside. Its body could not help but tremble. Everyone listen up. Prepare for war. Zhou ordered the entire army through the army interface. Yes, tens of millions of soldiers roared in unison, their voices shaking the heavens and earth. Even the countless soldiers of the Ice Demon Kingdom, who were rushing over from afar, paused for a moment before returning to their normal speed. The soldiers of the Ice Demon clan rushed over. There were about 5 million of them. Moreover, their average strength was not as strong as Zhou's. However, there were many top-notch experts among them. In particular, there were at least 100 epic tier experts. Even legendary tier experts numbered 6 to 7. At this moment, the leader of the Ice Demon clan, who was wearing a luxurious ice blue robe and an ice jade crown, took a step forward and said cautiously, May I ask which human faction you are from? I wonder when did my Ice Demon Kingdom provoked you to bring so many soldiers here? His voice loomed. You just robbed tens of millions of my refugees, but now you're acting like you don't know us. As expected of the Ice Demon King of the Ice Demon Kingdom, Your Majesty Kiro. Your skin is thicker than the average ice demon. Zhou looked at it and asked mockingly. He had seen the basic information of this Ice Demon King on the map that Wu Tu had given him, so he could tell at a glance. The Ice Demon King chuckled. That's me. What else do you have to say? Zhou asked calmly. The Ice Demon King, Kiro, didn't even bother to reply. Instead, he ordered his Ice Demon King army to charge at Zhou's army. Zhou was naturally not afraid at all. He ordered the army to charge forward and not leave a single one alive. At the same time, he also raised his right hand and aimed his palm at the 10 million soldiers of the Ice Demon Kingdom. Extraordinary tier Lord Talent. Insight Defection. Activate. Boom. Invisible fluctuations instantly enveloped the 10 million Ice Demon soldiers. The next second, the bodies of more than 2.5 million Ice Ghost soldiers stiffened. Then, the expression in their eyes changed. They turned around and attacked their companions without hesitation. What kind of visual experience would it be for a quarter of the army to suddenly rebel against tens of millions of Ice Demon soldiers? And that was a huge mess. Everything was in chaos. The army of the Ice Demon Kingdom that was originally attacking together suddenly became chaotic at this moment. Bai Yun and the other Legion commanders, who were prepared, naturally would not let go of such a good opportunity. They immediately led the nearly 30 million soldiers to attack these Ice Demon Kingdom soldiers. Among them, the White Platinum tier and the soldiers below the White Platinum level formed nearly 20 greedy wolf howling moon arrays in groups of 200,000 soldiers. They summoned 20 greedy wolf avatars and pounced at the Ice Demon Kingdom soldiers. The scene before them was naturally the result of the joint efforts of Wu Xian, Bai Yun, Luo Shang, and the other generals who controlled the greedy wolf howling moon array. Now that they were at the epic tier, the greedy wolf howling moon array was no longer of much use to them. However, this array formation still had a very obvious increase in combat strength for soldiers below the White Platinum tier. Moreover, it could prevent them from being fatally injured many times. However, this array formation still had a very obvious increase in combat strength for soldiers below the White Platinum tier. Moreover, it could prevent them from being fatally injured many times. A few of their generals worked together to pass this array formation to the White Platinum tier and lower-level soldiers with comprehension and personally taught them. Even though it had only been a few days, more than 20 soldiers with high comprehension and potential had already mastered this array. Now they could show their might on the battlefield. The battle on the battlefield was in full swing. On the other side, after Zhou Zhou activated Insight Defection, he also looked at the Lord Talent notification. Prompt: you have activated your Lord's exclusive talent, Insight Defection. Insight Defection has taken effect. Lord Talent notification. A total of 1,355,241 Black Iron Tier Ice Demon Kingdom soldiers, 324,562 Green Bronze Tier Ice Demon Decurion, 315,412 White Silver Tier Ice Demon Centurions, 109,963 Yellow Gold Tier Ice Demon Millennium, 67,822 White Platinum Tier Ice Demon Generals, 19,634 Diamond Tier Ice Demon Generals, 5,625 Extraordinary Tier Ice Demon Generals, 16 Epic Tier Ice Demon Marshals, and 1 Lord Talent Notification Intermediate Grade Extreme Ice Demon Bao Sackett have betrayed their faction and become your loyal subordinate. Zhou Zhou nodded at the report in satisfaction. 1 Insight Defection directly gave him 2,518,276 troops, as expected of an Extraordinary Tier Insight Defection. Awesome! He could not help but take another look at the Insight Defection report, and then he noticed a bright spot. He clicked on the strongest person in the Insight Defection report and realized that this legendary Ice Demon Bao Sackett was actually an Ice Demon Kingdom hero with a legendary tier advanced grade hero fate level slot. Good God! With Insight Defection, not only did he insight more than 2.51 million Ice Demon Kingdom soldiers, he even managed to recruit a hero. Was he that lucky? Zhou Zhou was pleasantly surprised. Logically speaking, there was basically a chance that anyone would be obtainable by his Insight Defection as long as their loyalty did not reach more than 90 points. However, even so, this was also the first time he had encountered the matter of directly inciting a hero. Zhou Zhou clicked his tongue in wonder. He had actually encountered such a small probability. Then, he looked at the battlefield in front of him. At the same time, he flipped his right hand and saw a circular light barrier that emitted a black and white light that was about the size of a fist appeared in his hand. It was the legendary tier elementary grade treasure, Sun and Moon Heavenly Barrier. Zhou Zhou gave it a thought and directly activated it. It increased the effect of the Sun and Moon Heavenly Barrier by 30% and reduced additional damage by 30%. The soldiers immediately felt the increase in their strength from the Sun and Moon Heavenly Barrier, and their battle became even more ferocious and brave. At the same time, about 100 kilometers behind the battlefield, the king of the Ice Demon Kingdom, Kiro, was flying at full speed toward the capital with an ugly expression. It never expected that the king of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, whom he was rather worried about, had actually personally led his troops to their Ice Demon Kingdom to start a war. The most terrifying thing was, the other party's terrifying army was unbelievable. As an experienced king, he could tell at a glance that there were about 30 million soldiers in total. So many soldiers, already more than its ice demon kingdom. As an intermediate kingdom that existed for a long time, its ice demon kingdom only had a total of 26 million troops. At the thought of this, Kiro's expression turned even uglier. The 10 million soldiers I left behind probably won't survive much longer, he muttered. But that couldn't be helped. 10 million soldiers would not be able to deal with 30 million elite soldiers after all. Under such circumstances, if they did not escape, they would only die together with the soldiers. When this king returns to the capital, invite all the god-tier experts and other troops in the capital. So what if the king of the blazing sun is strong? This king will definitely make you regret coming to my ice demon kingdom. Kiro gritted his teeth. Oh? What do you mean by regret? At this moment, a faint voice sounded. Kiro's body stiffened. It looked up. He saw a human dressed in black and red martial artist combat attire and holding a blood-colored long sword floating 100 meters in front of him, looking at it calmly. You are. Kiro's eyes widened. The next second, it suddenly felt that its neck was slightly wet and it subconsciously reached out to wipe it, then looked at it. Then, it was horrified to see that its hands were covered in ice-blue blood. Only then did the king of the ice demon kingdom realize that his neck had been slit unknowingly. Cough, cough. It wanted to say something, but when it opened its mouth, it spat out a large amount of ice-blue blood. Then, its ice-blue eyes gradually dimmed until they completely lost their light. Suin walked over and cut off its head with a sword. Then, he put its corpse into his spatial ring and flew towards the battlefield calmly. Your subordinate, Knight Rakshasa Sword God, Suin, has killed the epic tier king of the Ice Demon Kingdom, Kiro. Promotion energy plus 40 million. Loots condensed. Blessing of the War God. You have received an additional 3.2 billion promotion energy points. Zhou looked at the two notifications and a faint smile appeared on his face. Suin, this kid. He had never been disappointed in this aspect. He looked at the battlefield in front of him. At this moment, the situation on the battlefield was very obvious. With the enhancement of the Sun and Moon Heavenly Barrier and the 7.5 million Ice Demon Kingdom soldiers fighting the 31 million Blazing Sun Kingdom soldiers, Zhou's side had the absolute advantage on the battlefield. Victory was not far away for them. A moment later, Suin returned and placed the Ice Demon King Kiro's corpse in front of Zhou. Well done. Go on. Zhou smiled. Yes, Your Majesty, Suin said respectfully. Then he turned around and joined the battlefield. Zhou looked at the corpse of the Ice Demon King Kiro in front of him. Item name, King of the Ice Demon Kingdom, Kiro's corpse, item level. Epic tier advanced grade item effect. Contains unextracted loots. Item description. He was the king of the Ice Demon Kingdom when he was alive. He ruled the intermediate kingdom, the Ice Demon Kingdom. He was quite ambitious, but unfortunately he was not strong enough and was jealous. He had a conflict with the Blazing Sun Kingdom. In the end, during the war with it, he was assassinated by the heroes of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Loots drop rate, 100 epic tier mist core, drop rate, 100%. 1,200 origin crystals, drop rate, 100%. 1 epic tier advanced grade equipment Ice Demon King armor, drop rate, 10%. 1 epic tier advanced grade equipment Ice Demon King sword, drop rate, 10%. 1 epic tier advanced grade skill book King's Might, drop rate, 5%. 1 epic tier advanced grade skill book Frozen Domain, drop rate, 5%. 1 race divine artifact, Ice Demon God's Talisman, drop rate, 0.1%. 6 black iron level Lord Talent Crystal Fragment, 0%. Zhou looked at his spoils of war and suddenly raised his eyebrows. A look of surprise and joy appeared on his face. Race divine artifact. This guy actually had a race divine artifact. Zhou was too surprised. As someone who possessed 2 divine artifacts of the race, he naturally knew how precious they were. Originally, he thought that the next time he obtained a race divine artifact, It might be the next time the Supreme Will would distribute the rewards for the event. They did not expect. The activity of the Supreme Will had just begun. He had already unexpectedly obtained a new race divine artifact. Not bad. Not bad. It really dropped something good. Without another word, he immediately began the extraction. Lord Talent notification. Your loots have been enhanced by the King of Loots. Perfect loots. Grade +1. Title hint. Your loots have been affected by the title of the strongest lord. The number of loots has increased by 150%. Lord Talent notification. You have obtained perfect loots, 250 mist cores, legendary tier, 3,000 origin crystals, 3 pieces of equipment, Ice Demon Emperor armor, legendary tier advanced grade, 3 pieces of equipment, Ice Demon Emperor sword, legendary tier advanced grade, 3 skill books, Emperor's Might, legendary tier advanced grade, 3 skill books, Eternal Frost Domain, legendary tier advanced grade, 1 race divine artifact, Ice Demon God's Blessing, race, 15 Lord Talent crystal fragments, green tier. Whoosh. The Ice Demon King, Kiro's corpse instantly turned into a large number of loots and flew into Zhou King's treasure box. Zhou checked the loots in the king's treasure box. There was naturally no need to mention the Mist Core, the Origin Crystal, and the Lord Talent Crystal Fragment. Zhou could not wear the 6 legendary tier advanced grade equipment, the Ice Demon Emperor armor and the Ice Ghost Emperor sword, for the time being. Therefore, he only looked at the effects of the equipment. After discovering that there was nothing special, he directly stored them in the king's treasure box. When his subordinates reached the legendary tier advanced grade in the future, he could directly reward them with these 2 pieces of equipment. As for himself, he naturally did not need these normal equipment with a divine artifact. Then, he looked at the 6 skill books. Zhou only took a glance at the Eternal Frost Domain. Then, because it was a legendary tier advanced grade skill, he could not learn it for the time being and stored it in the king's treasure box. Due to the name of the book, Zhou specially read its skill information carefully. In the end, he realized that this was a normal pressure type skill. This skill, be it the Emperor Dragon robe on his body or the various high-level bloodlines in his body, had similar and stronger abilities. Therefore, Zhou was not interested in such low-level pressure at all. After reading it, he threw it to the side of the king's treasure box. In the end, Zhou's gaze landed on a bone necklace. This bone necklace was bone white in color. At the bottom of the necklace, there was a thumb-sized ice blue ice demon's head. It closed its eyes quietly, and there was a sense of charity on its face. Zhou looked at her. A text notification appeared. Race Divine Artifact Name. Blessing of the Ice Demon God. Equipment Grade. Race Divine Artifact Ability. Desire to become a god. The Ice Demon God. Before Bai died, he sacrificed to the Supreme Will and returned all his divine power and accumulated faith to his race's people. Bai hoped that after he died, his race would be able to quickly produce new god spirits to continue protecting his race. When the Ice Demon race's people advance to the low-level deity tier elementary grade, the probability of successfully advancing is increased by 10%. Race Divine Artifact Ability. Blessing of the Ice Spike King. When the Ice Demon clan is born, there is a very small probability that they will automatically have the talent, Invisibility. Introduction to Race Divine Artifact. The Ice Demon God. Bai used himself as a sacrifice to ask the Supreme Will for mercy. This is a Race Divine Artifact created by Bai. It contains Bai's deep love for the Ice Demon race. Note: this race's divine artifact is exclusive to the Ice Demon race. It is only effective on the Ice Demon race. Zhou looked at this race divine artifact and frowned slightly. The effect of this race divine artifact was not bad. However, it was only effective on the Ice Demon race, which greatly reduced its value. Zhou thought for a while and shook his head with a smile. It was already not bad to be able to obtain a race divine artifact. He was being picky. Moreover, after he conquered the entire Ice Demon Kingdom, all the Ice Demons in the Ice Demon King Kingdom would be his subjects. With the Ice Demon Kingdom as an intermediate grade kingdom, There must be a lot of ice demons in its country. Under such circumstances, this ice demon god's blessing could naturally be put to good use. 2 hours later, more than 7.5 million soldiers of the Ice Demon Kingdom were completely wiped out. The other party was completely wiped out. As for Zhou side, they had only lost more than 500,000 soldiers. Furthermore, the clergy of the Shelter of the Goddess of Life had been healing and reviving the soldiers of the Blazing Sun Kingdom at the back of the battlefield since the beginning of the war. Therefore, there were more than 500,000 soldiers who had died or been injured. Before long, it would appear in front of them alive and kicking again. The soldiers were cleaning up the battlefield. A moment later, Baiyun walked over with a report. Your Majesty, this is the report of the recent war. Other than the loots that we have yet to total up, everything else is basically accounted for. Your Majesty, please take a look, Baiyun said respectfully. Zhou nodded and took the report. He glanced at it briefly before his gaze landed on the last line. In this war, their side had dealt with a total of 6 legendary tier experts. Furthermore, 4 of them had hero slots. Zhou was delighted when he saw this. As long as he extracted the corpses of these 6 legendary tier experts, it was completely possible for him to obtain a large number of god-tier trophies with the enhancement of the King of Loots. At the thought of this, Zhou immediately ordered Baiyun to bring over the corpses of the 6 legendary tier experts. Baiyun brought the corpses of the 6 legendary tier experts to Zhou. Zhou did not waste any time and reached out to retrieve the spoils of war of the Ice Demon clan. The loots from the corpses of the 6 legendary tier ice demons were extracted. He obtained a total of 3,000 divine crystals, 42 divine artifacts, 36 law skills, 6 Book of the God Spirit, 6 Hero Inheritance Secret Manuals, and 90 green bronze tier Lord Talent crystal fragments. As for the other loots, they were all below the God tier level, so there was no need to elaborate. When Zhou saw so many loots, joy immediately appeared on his face. He first chose 12 non-repeating law skills from the 36 law skills and chose to learn them all. Then, he picked out the best 5 divine artifacts from the 42 inferior divine artifacts for them to recognize him as their master. As for the other divine artifacts, they were either duplicates or weaker than the divine artifacts he had recognized as his masters. Therefore, he did not keep them. He planned to keep them for himself and reward them to his god-tier subordinates in the future. Then, he put the other loots into his spatial ring. The harvest this time is really quite abundant. Zhou could not help but sigh. This was still not the gains from taking down the Ice Demon Kingdom. He would definitely gain more if he could take down the Ice Demon Kingdom. At this moment, King of the Blazing Sun, an extremely furious roar sounded from afar. An arrow emitting an extremely cold aura shot over from afar. This arrow emitted a dense aura of mid-tier deity-level divine power. It was obvious that it was shot by a god spirit. Zhou was shocked when he saw this, but he quickly calmed down. With a thought, an ice-blue shield appeared in his hand. The god of the snowfield and white wolf, Zaiwu, and the god of blazing sun and burns, Haros, who were watching the battle from the side and were about to stop the ice-type divine arrow, were stunned when they saw the shield. Especially the god of the snowfield and white wolf, Zaiwu. Did this guy really just arrive in the high continent? Could he be the illegitimate son of the Supreme Will? They thought doubtfully. On the other side, Zhou looked at the divine artifact shield in his hand. Divine artifact name, Extreme Ice Essence Shield. Divine artifact grade, low-tier deity level intermediate grade. Divine artifact law, Extreme Ice Shield. You can create an ice attribute divine shield using divine power. It can resist the mid-tier deity level intermediate grade law skills within the range of your own perception. Zhou nodded slightly. A low-tier deity level intermediate grade divine artifact being able to withstand a mid-tier deity level intermediate grade nomological attack would be considered a supreme divine artifact according to the inheritance records in Zhou's bloodline. The chaotic origin energy from his body surged into it. A dark blue extreme ice shield quickly appeared in front of the ice attribute divine arrow after injecting about a third of the chaotic origin energy. The two instantly collided the next second. Rumble. An earth-shattering explosion sounded. At the center of the collision, a large amount of ice rapidly expanded like bubbles, forming a mushroom cloud of ice in the blink of an eye. A terrifying chill spread out, causing all living beings within a radius of 50 kilometers, including the soldiers of the Ice Demon Kingdom and the Blazing Sun Kingdom, to shiver from the cold. Some of the weaker soldiers' life auras even began to gradually weaken, as if they were about to die at any moment. A thick layer of ice quickly condensed on the ground, forests, lakes, and even life forms within a radius of 50 kilometers. At this moment, the world had even become a silent and extremely cold place. Zhou's expression turned solemn. This was the reason why everything within 100 miles, 1,000 miles, or even further would be reduced to the ruins once God spirits started battles within themselves. The law skill attacks grasped by God spirits were too terrifying. Once it was activated, it could easily change or even destroy a portion of the geographical area. Just like the scene in front of him. When powerful God spirits fought, they could even destroy the world. Fortunately, he had a way to solve the problem in front of him. Zhou gave it a thought and a frosty white diamond appeared in his hand. Divine artifact name, Frost White Star, Divine Artifact Grade, Low-tier Deity Level Elementary Grade, Divine Artifact Law White Frost Domain. Activate the White Frost Star, which is able to activate the White Frost Domain within a certain range. Friendly creatures could be immune to ice attribute attacks legendary tier elementary grade and below, and some low-tier deity level elementary grade law skill attacks. This was also one of the 5 divine artifacts and a large-scale defense divine artifact. The god of the snowfield and white wolf, Zaiwu, and the god of blazing sun and burns, Heros, were dumbfounded when they saw Zhou take out another divine artifact. Then, the two god spirits looked at each other with deep and inexplicable gazes. On the other side, Zhou immediately injected chaotic origin energy into this divine artifact after he took out the Frost White Star. As the chaotic origin energy was continuously injected, a layer of frosty white spherical domain, with the frosty white star as the core, spread out rapidly. It was the divine artifact Law White Frost Domain. A few seconds later, it covered an area of 20 kilometers where more than 30 million of Zhou's soldiers were. Zhou did not stop when he saw this. Instead, he continued to inject a small amount of chaotic energy to maintain the White Frost Domain. At the same time, he started to sense the remaining chaotic origin energy in his body. In the end, he realized that he only had about 20% of his chaotic origin energy left. Just activating this White Frost Domain has actually exhausted half of the chaotic origin energy in my body. This White Frost Star's protective effect is useful, but it also consumes a lot of energy, Zhou thought to himself. Based on his perception, the remaining 20% of his chaotic origin energy could only maintain the White Frost Domain for about half an hour. He hoped that this half an hour would allow his soldiers to gain the upper hand on the battlefield, or his side could deal with the other party's god. Otherwise, his soldiers would suffer without the protection of the White Frost Domain half an hour later. Back to more than 10 seconds ago, 100 miles away, an old ice demon king wearing an ice-blue robe, an ice-blue crown on his head, and a white beard that was more than 3 meters long had just put down his ice-blue longbow angrily. Behind him were more than 16 million soldiers from the Ice Demon Kingdom, and among them were 3 Ice Demon race god spirits emitting terrifying auras. Moreover, 2 of the god spirits' divine power auras had already surpassed the lesser god level and reached mid-tier deity level. This arrow, His Majesty locked onto the King of the Blazing Sun and shot it out. That King of the Blazing Sun isn't even at the legendary tier. Even if he has many trump cards and doesn't die after enduring it, he will definitely be severely injured. A mid-tier deity-level god spirit of the Ice Ghost race with a blue engraved arm said, "After capturing the King of the Blazing Sun, I want to kill him with my own hands and avenge my son." Kirin gritted his teeth. He was the previous king of the Ice Demon Kingdom, the father of the current Ice Demon King, Kiro. After he broke through to the low-tier deity-level advanced grade more than 200 years ago, in order to find the opportunity to advance to mid-tier deity level, he resigned from the position of king and let his son, Kiro, be the next king of the Ice Demon Kingdom. Later on, after he advanced to mid-tier deity level, he did not want to return to the position of king. Instead, he chose to continue cultivating and tried to advance to a higher level. He was originally cultivating in his shrine today. However, he suddenly had a sudden impulse and vaguely felt that his bloodline had encountered something ominous. After realizing this, he immediately stopped his cultivation and came to the life hall where the Ice Demon Kingdom's life token was stored. Then, he realized that his son Kiro's life token had already shattered. This meant that his son was already dead. He, who was in disbelief and anger, immediately asked the others in the palace. Only then did he know that his son had just led his troops to find an unknown enemy faction that had suddenly descended in the territory of the Ice Demon Kingdom. After hearing this, he calmed down. He first observed the array through the Zenith Heaven Cave observation array and observed who the enemy was from afar. Only then did he realize that the other party was the strongest lord of all races, the Lord of the Blazing Sun, who had been famous for some time. After knowing this, Kiran did not choose to deal with the other party rashly. Instead, he gathered all the troops and all the experts in the entire Ice Demon Kingdom. After making all the preparations, he led his troops here. Then this scene happened. At this moment, they observed the scene of the shield and arrows colliding. Then he saw the King of the Blazing Sun activate the Frost White Star to protect his soldiers. When Kiran and the other 3 Ice Demon God Spirits saw this, they immediately raised their eyebrows slightly. 2 divine artifacts. He just established the beginner kingdom not long ago, but he already has such a foundation. I really can't underestimate this King of the Blazing Sun. Another Ice Demon God Spirit holding an ice spear said coldly. More than that. Do you see the 2 God Spirits behind him? From their divine power aura, they should be a low-tier deity-level God Spirit and a mid-tier deity-level God Spirit. This King of the Blazing Sun really came prepared to launch a war in our Ice Demon Kingdom. The other Ice Demon God Spirit, who also had a huge sword, said solemnly. At this moment, Kiran's emotions seemed to have been released by this arrow. No matter how many God Spirits the other party has, we have to destroy them. Our race's divine artifact was with my son. Now that my son has been killed by this King of the Blazing Sun, the race's divine artifact might have also fallen into the other party's hands. We have to destroy the other party and take back the race's divine artifact for the future of the Ice Demon Kingdom, Kiran said coldly and with aggro. The other 3 Ice Demon God Spirits also nodded solemnly. The Ice Demon race was not a race with high potential. Not to mention breaking through to the God Spirit realm. It was quite difficult to break through to the epic tier and legendary tier. The reason why they could have 4 God Spirits now, including Kiran, was all because of the divine artifact of the race, the Ice Demon God, left behind by the first king of the Ice Demon Kingdom, Bai. Even though the talisman only had one effect, which could increase the probability of the Ice Demon race advancing to the low-tier deity-level elementary grade by 3%. This not-so-strong race divine artifact effect also allowed the Ice Demon Kingdom to forcefully accumulate 2 low-tier deity-level Ice Demon God Spirits and 2 mid-tier deity-level Ice Demon God Spirits in 4,000 years. There were so many God Spirits of the race. Even some newly established beginner Kingdom Lord factions would probably only have this number of God Spirit reserves, what more the advanced kingdoms. While this was not without the help of their own efforts and national strength, it could also be seen how powerful the race's divine artifact was. It was also because of this power that the past higher-ups of the Ice Demon Kingdom regarded their possession of the divine artifact of the race as the highest secret. Only the past kings of the Ice Demon Kingdom and the God Spirits of the Ice Demon Kingdom knew of the existence of the divine artifact of the race. However, they all kept their mouths shut and no one leaked it. Otherwise, once word got out, those high and mighty kingdoms might even personally take action to snatch this race divine artifact. Even if they could not use it, they could stop the rise of a country with a race divine artifact. Speaking of which, Kiran and the other 3 God Spirits did not waste their breath. They led the more than 16 million Ice Demon Kingdom soldiers towards the Blazing Sun Kingdom soldiers. Both sides quickly saw each other. Then the Ice Demon Kingdom did not even stop. They did not even waste their breath and directly rushed towards the soldiers of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Zhou had twice the advantage of the other party's military strength to begin with. When he saw this scene, he was naturally not afraid at all and directly asked Bai Yun to lead the army to attack. The two sides quickly came into contact and immediately fought fiercely. Linger, you activate Insight Defection. When Zhou saw this, he immediately said, his Insight Defection could not be used on the same faction twice on the same day. Therefore, this chance of Insight Defection could only be given to others. As for the other lords of the Star Alliance, they could only be envious when they saw this. However, they had no complaints. Their Insight Defection was given to them by His Majesty after all. This was a huge gift to begin with. They were not greedy people. How could they dare to complain about such a small matter? Okay. Big brother. Linger nodded excitedly and immediately raised her hand to activate the Insight Defection. Among the more than 16 million Ice Demon Kingdom soldiers, more than 3.2 million Ice Demon soldiers suddenly rebelled and slashed at their compatriots in their camp. The Ice Demon Kingdom immediately fell into chaos. When Linger saw this, she turned to look at Zhou in surprise. Big brother, my Insight Defection recruited more than 3,260,000 Ice Demon soldiers. Zhou smiled and nodded. He felt that it was a pity. If he was the one who activated Insight Defection, he could instigate at least 4 million Ice Demon King soldiers. However, he didn't care that there were only more than 800,000 soldiers. His daily gains from the Monster Ranch were more than this. He looked at the battlefield in front of him. At this moment, it was obvious that the Blazing Sun Kingdom had the absolute advantage on the battlefield. After all, their military strength was twice that of the other party, and the internal strife had thrown them into chaos. Under such circumstances, the outcome was obvious. At this moment, whoosh, 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 3 ice-blue divine arrows emit a terrifying aura shot over from afar and shot at Zhou from 3 different directions. Zhou's heart skipped a beat. The divine artifact shield that had blocked the arrow previously suddenly split into 3 and blocked the 3 divine arrows. Zhou looked in the direction. He saw Kiran, who was more than 100 kilometers away, looking at him with cold aggro. At this moment, Zhou suddenly felt an extremely strong sense of danger. 3 god spirits of the Ice Demon Kingdom suddenly appeared in front of him out of thin air. They either brandished their huge swords, smashed down heavy fists, or stabbed out with ice spears, attacking Zhou. Zhou was shocked and immediately reacted. In the next moment, 4 final guard members appeared out of thin air in front of Zhou and blocked the 3 Ice Demon heroes. Epic Tier Elementary Grade Supremacy Formation. This was a military formation that the final guard was born with. It was specially used to protect the Lord of the End. Gray auras suddenly flew out of the 4 of them. These gray auras were connected to each other, forming a gray membrane that firmly protected Zhou in them. Right on the heels of that, bang, 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 the attacks of the 3 Ice Demon God Spirits landed on the gray membrane. The seemingly weak gray membrane actually blocked the attacks of the 3 God Spirits. It lasted for a second before being damaged. The Ice Demon God Spirit carrying the huge sword on its back exclaimed in surprise. The other 2 Ice Demon God Spirits also frowned slightly. The 3 God Spirits had joined forces to launch a sneak attack, but they were actually blocked by a military formation created by 4 Epic Tier Elementary Grade Summon creatures. They attacked Zhou again without hesitation. Then, the 4 final guards blocked the other party's attack again. The difference in strength directly shattered them into wisps of gray aura of finality. Then, this final aura quickly condensed again and formed their original bodies in the blink of an eye. This was not the most surprising thing. What surprised the 3 Ice Demon God Spirits the most was that after their rebirth, not only did their aura not weaken, they even advanced from Epic Tier Elementary Grade to Epic Tier Advanced Grade. Even though it was only a temporary breakthrough, it was enough to surprise them. What they did not know was that this was the effect of their Divine Kingdom Soldier type talent, the final Calamity Body. However, this end Calamity Body that was reborn after death and became stronger could not be used indefinitely. If they died again and their strength temporarily broke through to the legendary tier, they would not be able to revive again if they were still beaten to death. At that time, they could only wait for a period of time for Zhou, the Lord of the End, to condense their bodies again and revive them. Zhou naturally knew this. However, he knew that even if the final guard members were reborn and broke through to the legendary tier, they would not be able to help him fight against the 3 ice demon god spirits. Therefore, he used spatial teleportation and left the encirclement of the 3 god spirits. Then, he instantly retracted the 4 final guard members. The 3 gods were about to chase after them when they saw the god of the snowfield and white wolf, Zai-Wu, and the god of blazing sun and burns, Haros, fly in front of them to stop them from going over. "You'd better move aside. Otherwise, I'll think that you're going against our ice demon kingdom." Among the 3 god spirits, the mid-level god-tier ice ghost god spirit with the blue engraved arm said sinisterly. Even though one of these 2 god spirits was a high-level god spirit, they had 4 god spirits on their side, and Kirin could shoot arrows to assist them from afar. Coupled with the trump cards they still had a high chance of winning if they really fought. Zai-Wu did not say anything. Haros retorted with a disdainful expression. "I'm a god spirit worshipper of the Elven Empire. Are you sure you want the Elven Empire to become our enemy?" The expressions of the 3 ice demon god spirits changed slightly. The god spirit holding the ice spear reacted and said, "Then you don't have to." Before Haros could finish speaking, he saw the 3 god spirits charging at them. Zai-Wu's expression changed slightly. Haros also cursed under his breath before immediately responding to the enemy. The 5 gods quickly fought. However, because the other party had 4 god spirits, and they had clearly practiced some kind of god spirit military formation to increase their strength, working together could actually greatly increase their combat strength. This made it a little difficult for Zai-Wu and Haros to resist. "I knew this deal was not that simple," Zai-Wu cursed in his heart. He was already starting to regret it. If he had known that he would have to face such a strong enemy from the beginning, he would not have agreed to Zhou's request so easily. His gaze wandered as he searched for an opportunity to escape. At this moment, "Senior Haros, Senior Zai-Wu, please come to me first." Zhou sent a voice transmission. The 2 gods were stunned. Then, they tacitly forced back the 3 ice demon god spirits in front of them and arrived beside Zhou as quickly as possible. "I hope you have a way to deal with the 3 of them by letting us come over," Haros said angrily. As the god of blazing sun and burns, he was actually better at combat. However, facing 3 god spirits who controlled the god-tier military formation at the same time, and another god spirit was secretly waiting for an opportunity to launch a sneak attack. This situation made he feel rather aggrieved. Zhou did not waste his breath. He waved his right hand and 2 sets of 12 divine artifacts appeared beside him. When these 12 divine artifacts appeared, not to mention Haros and Zai-Wu, even the 4 god spirits of the Ice Demon Kingdom were stunned. Then, extremely intense greed immediately erupted in their eyes. However, Zhou acted as if he did not see it. "Seniors, I'll borrow these 2 sets of low-level divine artifacts for the time being. I hope it will help the god war between you," he said. Before Zai-Wu could react, Haros laughed out loud. Without hesitation, he scooped with his right hand and took one of the low-level divine artifacts. Then, he recognized it as his master and put it on. "My good lord! It's even a brand new low-tier divine artifact." After Haros put on this divine artifact, he was immediately shocked again. Then, he could not help but be overjoyed. New divine artifacts meant that they had not withered at all and retained the power and effect of the divine artifact at its peak. He originally only had a mid-level god-tier elementary grade divine artifact. This divine artifact configuration was already not bad among other mid-level god tiers of the same level. After all, there were at least divine artifacts that could be used. Defeating a high-level god spirit without a divine artifact was still very simple. However, now that he had the 6 low-tier deity-level divine artifacts in front of him, he felt that his combat strength had more than doubled. For the current him, Even if an old high-level divine artifact with 2 high-level divine artifacts appeared in front of him, he had the guts to challenge them and had a chance of winning. When Zhe Wu saw Heros' impolite expression, he no longer hesitated. He directly took the 6 low-level divine artifacts and wore them. A powerful sense of power and confidence immediately appeared in the hearts of the 2 gods accompanied by the divine artifact. "You're not bad." Heros patted Zhou's shoulder and praised him. "Fuck. I've lived for more than 3,000 years. This is the first time I've felt the feeling of having a divine artifact all over my body. It would be good if the divine artifacts on me are all high-level divine artifacts." Heros thought greedily. Then, he turned his head and looked sinisterly in Kiro's direction. "Fuck. I've tolerated you for a long time," Heros roared. Then he turned into a flame and flew towards Kiro. When the other 3 ice demon god spirits saw this, they immediately rushed over to stop them. Unexpectedly, Heros slapped them with a huge divine power fire, and all the divine artifacts on his body suddenly lit up, shattering the military formation formed by the 3 god spirits as if he was swatting flies, and repelled them more than 10 kilometers away. After the 3 gods stabilized themselves, they could not help but be shocked. This high-level god's combat strength after wearing this divine artifact was simply different from before. Heros also saw this scene and could not help but laugh out loud. This was the power of 6 divine artifacts stacked together. Even if they were the lowest level, low-tier deity level elementary grade divine artifacts, it was enough for him to easily crush his previous enemies. He quickly rushed in front of Kirin. Then, he took out a high-level deity tier elementary grade divine artifact, the Fire Divine Fork, that emitted scorching flames and began to fight Kirin. Kirin was an archery god spirit who was good at long-range combat to begin with. He was not good at close combat. Now that he was facing Heros, who had greatly increased his strength and was good at close combat, he immediately fell into a bitter battle. Every second of battle could be considered dangerous to Kirin. "Come and help me," he asked the other 3 ice demon god spirits for help in a panic. The 3 ice demon god spirits also wanted to save Kirin. However, just as they were about to go over, they saw a wolf and 2 people appeared in front of them. They were Zhe Wu, Qi Shentian, and Guiqiao. What a familiar god spirit aura. I wonder how much my strength will increase after bathing in your divine blood. Guiqiao held the 2 blood-colored axes and looked at the 3 god spirits with burning eyes. An aura that seemed to want to fight the world suddenly erupted from his body. Zhe Wu looked at the 2 humans and was secretly shocked. This was because he also felt a faint sense of threat from them. These 2 humans suddenly came to my side and said that they wanted to fight with me. They indeed had something to rely on. These 2 humans suddenly came to my side and said that they wanted to fight with me. They indeed had something to rely on. I'll deal with that mid-tier deity level. The 2 of you deal with the 2 low-tier deities. I'll help you after I deal with them. Can you do that? Zhe Wu said in a low voice. With this divine artifact, he also became more confident. Sure. Qi Shentian nodded. Guiqiao laughed. His eyes filled with fanaticism. He held his 2 axes and rushed towards the low-tier god spirit of the ice demon race holding the ice spear. What a lunatic! Zhe Wu thought to himself. An epic-tier advanced grade human actually dared to charge at a low-tier deity level elementary grade god spirit. If this was not a lunatic, what was? However, he did not care. He took out a white and sharp tooth. It was their White Wolf race's low-tier deity advanced grade divine artifact, White Wolf Fong. He took out his divine artifact and rushed towards the ice demon god spirit with the blue engraved arm. At this moment, Qi Shentian also took out the Myriad Sword Immortal Formation and controlled the huge sword condensed from the Myriad Swords to attack the ice demon god spirit that used the huge sword. Let me help too. Zhou was not idle when he saw this. He flipped his right hand and took out a large number of low-tier deity-level elementary grade divine crystals. Then, he summoned the Ice Demon Sacrificial Robe and the Ice Demon God Sacrificial Dagger. He sacrificed the divine crystals through the sacrifice laws of these 2 divine artifacts. Then, he summoned an Ice Stats Attack Law skill and an Ice Stats Defense Law skill. Among them, the Ice Stats attack law skill was called Big Iceberg. The Ice Stats defense law skill was called Winter Ice Armor. Zhou threw 250 low-tier deity-level elementary-grade divine crystals into the 2 divine artifacts. Not only did he put on a layer of winter ice armor for himself, Haros, Zaiwu, and the others, but he also released 5 large icebergs for the 4 ice demon god spirits. Kirin and the other ice demon god spirits, who were focused on fighting Haros, Zaiwu, and the other god spirits, did not expect the Lord of the Blazing Sun to be able to launch such an attack. Caught off guard, everyone suffered injuries of varying severity. King of the Blazing Sun, Kirin and the other god spirits roared. They wanted to deal with the King of the Blazing Sun, who disgusted them first, but how could Haros and the others let them leave? In the end, they could only fight Haros and the others while being vigilant against Zhou, releasing similar attacks. This situation was like Kirin shooting arrows from the side just now, making Kirin and the others not dare to fight with all their might. A moment later, Haros laughed and grabbed Kirin's head, putting his corpse into his spatial treasure accompanied by a scream. "Your Majesty!" The other 3 ice demon god spirits watched this scene with widened eyes. They were all old friends and subordinates who had followed His Majesty for hundreds of years. How could they not be angry when they saw this scene with their deep friendship? "Humph! What are you shouting for? It's your turn now." Haros glanced at them and smiled sinisterly. Then, he turned into a dazzling fireball again and rushed towards them. "Run!" Thick spatial power erupted, forming a spatial passageway with endless suction behind it, directly sucking it into the spatial rift. The 3 ice demon god spirits were naturally not stupid. They knew that if they continued fighting, there was a 99% chance that they would die here. After forcing Zaiwu and the others back with their full strength, they immediately flew back quickly. At the same time, they took out a directional spatial teleportation talisman of a mid-tier deity-level advanced grade and injected divine power into it. Then, the directional spatial teleportation talisman lit up slightly. Then, it suddenly became unstable and gradually calmed down. Thick spatial power erupted, forming a spatial passageway with endless suction behind it, directly sucking it into the spatial rift. Their eyes immediately became filled with disbelief, and their already ice-blue faces immediately turned even paler. What happened? Why is the directional spatial teleportation talisman ineffective? The ice demon god spirit using the huge sword said anxiously. "I say, where do you ice lumps want to run to?" At this moment, a voice that terrified them sounded in front of them. They looked over. Haros was looking at them with a sinister smile. The constantly expanding and exploding flames on his body seemed to show the arrogant and belligerent personality in his heart. When they saw this, how could they have any intention of fighting again? Just as they were about to turn around and escape, they saw Zaiwu, Qi Shintian, and Guiqiao flying behind them, blocking their escape path and looking at them coldly. At the same time, when Zhou saw that they could not escape, he silently opened the spatial crack near them wider. A moment later, under the siege of Haros and the others, these 3 ice demon god spirits had all died in battle. Haros and Zaiwu walked over with the corpses of the 4 god spirits. They looked at the corpses reluctantly and finally gritted their teeth and handed them to Zhou. "I won't return you the divine artifact for now. I'll use it again. Feels good," Haros said. "Sure." Zhou did not mind. Haros nodded. Then, he flew towards the 2 armies fighting and began to use the divine artifacts on his body to kill to his heart's content. "I'll go too." Zaiwu was also a little reluctant to part with the 6 divine artifacts on him. After saying this, he also flew down to slaughter the soldiers of the Ice Demon Kingdom. "Your Majesty." Qi Shintian and Zaiwu flew over and said respectfully. Both of them were covered in blood and looked rather sorry. "Are you guys okay?" Zhou asked with concern. "It's just some minor injuries. We've already taken the medicine. We'll be fine after sleeping for a night." Guiqiao smiled and replied while Qi Shintian also nodded. Zhou nodded and whispered, "I'll make a breakthrough when I get back." Both of them were Dragon Slayer and could increase their strength through the Song in Bloodbath Talent effect and bathing in the blood of high-level bloodline life forms. Even though the Ice Demon race was not a high-level bloodline race, however, their god spirits were different. God spirits, even the god spirits of the weakest race had experienced the divine power of the supreme will. Their constitution could be considered a high-level bloodline creature. It was naturally not a problem to use their divine blood to trigger the song in Bloodbath. "Yes, your majesty," the two of them said respectfully. Zhou nodded. 3 hours later, the battlefield gradually fell silent. All the enemy soldiers of the Ice Demon Kingdom had been eliminated. Only the sounds of the Blazing Sun Kingdom soldiers cleaning up the battlefield and extracting loots could be heard. After cleaning up the battlefield, Zhou ordered all the Starry Knights to fly towards the Ice Demon King. The Ice Demon Kingdom no longer had the strength to fight. Now, he could occupy this intermediate kingdom to his heart's content and do whatever he wanted without worrying about any accidents. On the way to the Ice Demon Kingdom, in the Starry Night where Zhou was, "I'll give it back to you." Zaiwu and Haros came in front of Zhou. Then, Haros took off the 6 divine artifacts on him and returned them to Zhou. At the side, Zaiwu hesitated for a long time before reluctantly taking down the divine artifact on his body. Zhou smiled and put it away. At this moment, his impression of Haros had changed greatly. This guy clearly liked these 6 low-tier divine artifacts so much previously, but he returned them without hesitation when it was time. He was a god spirit who did things generously. He did not care about Zaiwu's reaction. If it were him, he would be reluctant too. It was just a normal reaction. "King of the Blazing Sun, are you interested in having a god spirit guard your kingdom?" Haros suddenly looked at Zhou seriously. Zaiwu raised his eyebrows slightly and looked at Haros in surprise. "Senior, you want to come to my Blazing Sun Kingdom and guard it as the local god spirit?" Zhou was not a fool. He immediately reacted. You're so rich and generous. I don't think it's a loss to be a god spirit of your kingdom." Haros laughed, not hiding his thoughts at all. Zhou was naturally tempted. This was a high god worshipping his kingdom. Typically, a newly established beginner empire would only have 3 low-tier god spirits as worshippers at most. This was also one of the conditions to establish an empire. If he could invite Haros to be a guardian of his country and establish an empire so far away, his newly established beginner kingdom would have a high-level god spirit to protect him and his country. In the future, his kingdom would have a true god spirit tier combat strength. This way, he would not have to be restrained when facing god spirit level enemies in the future. However, he quickly thought of something and asked carefully, "What about the Elven Empire?" "That's easy. I'm already very free in the Elven Empire. It's basically equivalent to a role that only takes up the position and doesn't contribute. I'll mention this to Her Majesty Elizariel when I get back. She should agree." Haros smiled. Zhou could not help but think. At this moment, Zhou could not help but think, "Haros, I don't think Her Majesty Elizariel will agree to your request easily. Don't forget, it's a critical period for the Elven Empire to advance to the Elven Divine Kingdom. In the dark, countless Empire level and even Divine Kingdom level factions are secretly spying on the Elven Empire, wanting it to fail in its advancement. At a time like this, the power of every god spirit is very important. Moreover, you signed a contract with the Elven Empire. Are you sure you want to bear the price of violating the contract?" At this moment, Zaiwu's calm voice sounded. He did not want to stop the other party from joining the Blazing Sun Kingdom. He had spoken his thoughts truthfully. Haros was stunned for a moment before falling silent. When Zhou saw this, how could he not understand that the matter brought up by Haros was probably going to fail? He racked his brains and immediately said, "Senior Haros, if you're in a difficult position, I have another way." "What method?" X2 Haros and Zaiwu looked at Zhou in unison. "Senior Haros actually doesn't have to guard me at all times like a god spirit. You can be a god spirit of the Elven Empire. But you can also come and help me when I need your help. I can ask you to take on such jobs at the price of a normal god spirit offering." "How about it?" Zhou smiled. To put it simply, it was equivalent to extra income. When he needed Heros' help, he could just ask him to help. Sure. However, the Elven Empire is too far from your blazing sun kingdom. You need to build your own spatial teleportation array in your territory and the Elven Empire. This way, I can rush over when you need me. Heros pondered for a long time before saying. Jojo acknowledged. Then please tell me the conditions you want. If both of us think there's no problem, this matter is settled, he said. My request is simple. Just let me use the 6 divine artifacts you just gave me. I'll return them to you after this agreement between us ends. Also, I want 100 high-level deity tier elementary grade divine crystals every 100 years. Heros said seriously. I don't have the 100 high-level deity tier elementary grade divine crystals for the time being. I'll give them to you when I have them. Jojo said. Haha, it's fine if you don't give it to me. Just give me 2 low-tier divine artifacts when the time comes. Heros smiled. All right. Jojo agreed with difficulty. Actually, he was laughing so hard in his heart. 2 low-tier divine artifacts every 100 years? If that's the case, you won't be able to escape from me for the rest of your life. Zaiwu stopped pretending. Count me in. My conditions are similar. I'll take these 6 low-tier divine artifacts as my deposit from your blazing sun kingdom. In addition, I want 100 mid-tier deity-level elementary grade divine crystals every 100 years. Zaiwu said. Okay. Then from now on, my blazing sun kingdom and I will have to rely on the 2 of you. Jojo stood up and said. A very reasonable deal. He had achieved his goal. Heros was in a very good mood and said with a smile. Zaiwu nodded. Then, Zaiwu took out a golden paper and wrote some words with divine power on it before handing it to him. Zaiwu also wrote some divine power words and finally handed them to Jojo. Sign this contract book. Our agreement has officially begun. If anyone violates the content of this contract, they will be severely punished. Heros reminded. Jojo's gaze landed on the contract book. A text notification appeared. Treasure name, contract book, treasure grade, true god tier, treasure effect. A contract book issued by the God of Justice and Contract, Inneral. The contents of the contract on it will be notarized by the God of Justice and Contract, Inneral. The 2 parties who sign the book of contract cannot violate the content of the contract. Otherwise, they will suffer the designated punishment of violating the contract according to the content of the contract. Treasure description. A divine item created by the God of Justice and Contract, Inneral. It is specially used to sign contracts and is deeply loved by living beings who need justice and contracts. Contract content. Jojo looked up at Heros in surprise. Don't look at me. Even though this thing is a true god-tier treasure, it's actually very cheap. Each portion only costs 1 low-tier deity-level elementary grade divine crystals. I have a dozen more if you want them, Heros said indifferently. Then I'll buy it. Jojo immediately said. This thing had too many uses.